Sports here with Marty Music, and we got a little different setup here today, but that's fun. You know, it's nice to mix things up. Today, I'm going to give you 7 tips, a little more advanced, on changing the strings on your guitar. And I'm very excited to be bringing you these awesome tips thanks to D'Addario. So huge shout out to D'Addario. I've been using D'Addario strings and guitar accessories for my entire career. So be sure to check the link if any of the products and strings that I'm talking about in this video are interesting to you. Be sure to check them out. All right, so without further ado, let's get to the tips. The first tip is having the proper workspace set up and the tools that are required for an efficient string changing session. I've actually got this string changing kit, which is really awesome, from D'Addario, and they have some essentials. Now you can buy a whole kit like this, but there's some things in here that they're absolute must-haves. If you could only have one thing, would be one of these handy tools, and it's pretty amazing because it actually winds your strings like so. So it's a fast, efficient string winder where you can crank it. And then it also is the string cutter. So after you've restrung it, you can clip all the strings off, or before you put new strings on, you can cut the other strings off. So everything you need in one tool. Plus, it's got what you need on acoustic to be able to pull the tuning pins out of the back of the acoustic as well. So it's pretty much everything you need in one tool here. The next most important, and it's just really great for the ease of accessing everything you need, and that is a guitar stand. Look, it's just like that. When it's down here, you don't have the proper leverage, and it's putting unwanted pressure on the neck there. So this tool actually comes in this kit as well, but you know, it's this little transformer like that. And then hopefully you have some kind of flat surface. You know, I moved my desk here. Another thing that actually comes with the kit, and you could use a towel, you don't have to use this, but this is a nice soft rubberish or material that's just a nice kind of like scratch pad, so you're not scratching the back of your guitar. And so now we are perfectly set up to begin our surgery. All right, so tip number 2 are taking the strings off the guitar. Now you could just be a wild banshee about it and just start clipping strings randomly off. And you know, you might risk one of them popping up because of the tension on them. So it's probably a safe and good idea to loosen the strings. And you can also see this winder in action here. So I'm just gonna loosen them, you know, not all the way. I'm not loosening them all the way off the guitar. Now, another thing I like to do, and this is just my personal thing from playing guitar so long, is I like to clip it almost like halfway, because that way you have a consistent amount of strings that are like lying on the ground, so you don't accidentally miss one and step on it like I have done. All right, so these are thin strings. I'm gonna use my multi-purpose tool. I trimmed them off already. And like I said, because of the halfway point, it's not just some little tiny little ball. They're all the same length, right? And so what I do, and this is just about, you know, being able to throw them away easy. It's not any fancy thing, but I just kind of wind them into a little ball here and wrap them up, however many I cut at a time. And then I just put them away. And that way, they're just a little easier to find. Now, on this end, they should just unwind. Then, once again, because they're the same length, it just makes it easier to wrap them into this. All right, so let me loosen these from this angle here. It's easier to switch the guitar when you're doing the strings closest to you, but just for the video's sake, I'm not gonna do that right this second. And let's see what this tool is a freshie. So, wow, clip through all 3. Undo these. They're all the same length. Put them together and do a ball. So now that everything is off, we can go to the next tip. Guitar tip number 3. You know, when you take the strings off, it opens up the neck and the spot under the pickup, so you can, you know, condition your neck. You can clean the neck if you want to. I don't clean and condition my neck every single time I change the strings, but that is something that you can think about every 2 or 3 times you change the strings. Now that the strings are off, this is a great opportunity to clean the guitar up a bit. As you know, the neck gets particularly gunky. The guitar loves to collect dust and grime right near the pickups, right? So this D'Addario string changing kit comes with 5 different products here. We have Hydrate Fingerboard Conditioner. Now, you might see comments sometimes where someone says that the neck looks really dry. This one actually is pretty dry. So this is going to be a good opportunity to add some moisture to the fretboard. Basically, all you got to do with this is put some on a cloth and apply to the fingerboard. We're going to get this neck hydrated and looking nice. Just going to got that drip right there. Go across these. You can see the wood of the fretboard just sucking that up. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, so I've been really enjoying the NYXLs. So I've got this fresh pack. I use 10s. It's what I'm used to. I've tried other gauges, so I've been open to it, but these just feel right. And I feel like I'm so used to them that, you know, they're just perfect gauge for me. Now, what's cool about the D'Addario strings, one of the many great reasons, but I personally really like, one, that the pack just comes in one pack, not individual string packs. And then also it's got the end balls of each string has a color that is coded to knowing right away if it's the E string, the A string, the D string. I've used D'Addario for so long that, you know, when I see the gold ball end, I know it's the low E string. So it makes it really easy. And if you're more of a beginner trying to change strings, it's great for that because it's right on the package. So I like to try and open it from the top, and I pull the strings out, and that way I haven't ruined the little guidelines on the colored strings. So I already changed the E string because I didn't want to mess with the bridge. I want to keep it in the same spot. I'm going to go through all the steps now of changing the string, but just know the E string's the exact same as the rest of these. So tip number 4 is getting the right amount of slack. I looked here on the guide, and the red ball end is my A string. So I'm going to just thread it through the back of this tailpiece here. Pull it all the way through, put it through this hole. How much slack? We want, pull it all the way through. And I can see the next tuner up here. That's how much slack. So I can just pull that back. And then another good thing is to just pull that up like that, which brings us to tip number 5, which is getting ready to wind the string. So I got the right amount of length, which is tip number 4. Tip number 5 is getting ready, right? So we have the right amount of slack here. I bent this up, so it kind of gives me a good kind of anchor point. See that? Then I just want to have the slack, right, as I start winding it. So the way I'm doing it is I take, because we want it to wind underneath the gear here. So what I do is I use the tip of my index finger to hold that down right there. And then the rest, usually my ring finger, but the rest of my fingers, I just hold, and it's really mostly the ring fingers doing most of the work, but now I'm pulling it so it's taut, nice and taut like a toiga. It's right where we want it to be, and we're gonna get, you know, ideally about 3 rotations around the tuning peg, which brings us to tip number 6, which is actually winding the string itself. Now remember, we have the ultimate tool. If you didn't have the ultimate tool, you're gonna wanna grab it and you're gonna wanna just pull it many, many times. And if you look, the way the strings rotate, you can see on the E string, it rotates inward in that direction from the middle of the neck outward. So you can see that it's winding, you know, what direction to wind it in is this way on this side and this way on that side. Luckily, I have the tool. You just grip it and then we just crank it. And see my right index finger is holding the slack down, so we get it tight on the tuner. And I can even crank it pretty fast. The right index finger is pretty crucial to keep those rotations threading underneath each next wind. I like to pull these up We're tightening the string. Eventually, I'm going to go grab a tuner and put the tuner on, and we can, just start getting them close. It's going to take multiple times here once all the strings are on to kind of stretch the strings and get it fully in tune. But that was 4, 5, and 6. All right, we're at tip number 7, which is stretching and tuning and tuning and stretching. It's good to have a tuner. The strings need to stretch, and then you got to tune it, and then you got to stretch again, and that's why I said it that way. But the first stretch I do actually is I kind of tug on the outer end of these strings first. And actually, it's funny, I already did it a bit, but when you actually tug on this end first, you can actually hear the strings stretch already, because there's a little bit of like space. You want to just maximize that tightness. Another thing about it is when you're tuning your guitar, and this doesn't even have to be related to changing strings, but in general, to keep your guitar in tune better, you always want to tune the string up to the pitch. And if your string is sharp, you want to pull and stretch on the string and try and naturally bring it down. And if it's still sharp, then you want to bring it way below pitch and then tune it up. So there's always that tightness around the tuner, as much tightness around the string as possible. Okay, so I got the tuner. I've tugged here. I've made sure these are all kind of tight. The first time that you're tuning up a newly restrung guitar, you don't have to worry too much about getting it all perfect tuned the first few times through. We're just bringing the guitar up to the proper tension. So the G string, now that it's like roughly in tune and everything looks like I did it correctly, we're gonna have to tune and stretch still, and stretch and tune. But now I feel comfortable trimming the whiskers. All right, so from here, I usually put the guitar into playing position to finish the stretching and the tightening. I'm gonna put this tuner back on here, and let me get this desk out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. All right, the desk is out of the way. Now we're at the final stretch. Get it? Dad jokes. All right, before we start stretching our brand new strings, I wanna give you a bonus tip on what you can do with your leftover strings. D'Addario makes it easy to recycle your strings and reward you in the process. They have a program called Playback where you create an account, collect 2 pounds of old strings, print off a free shipping label. Once shipped, you will receive points that you can redeem to get killer gear and swag. So just check the link below to learn more about it. And now let's get to stretching and tuning. So we put the tuner on here, and I'm just gonna start tuning it. We're gonna get a little bit closer to getting the guitar in tune. Okay, so from here, I don't pull the string so hard that it's gonna stretch it to try and break it, but I'll just kind of pull here near the tuner, through here, and then back. A few tugs here, a few tugs here, a few tugs there, here. Once again here, and I'm not, trying to test the limits of the strength of the string, but just a nice little stretch. We'll pull. Maybe just put some pressure down here too. Maybe right here. And then I'm going to tune it again. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, now it's in tune, I'm going to keep the tuner on right now. We want to, show off the natural beauty of the guitar eventually and throw that tuner off. But for now, we got to just put it through some paces, open chords, playing it kind of hard, some string bending, just kind of like a classic Guitar Center warm-up session. So like, this kind of thing, just start getting some of these chords. a stretching process, at least my personal stretching process. Licks not included. But anyway, you just want to work through the guitar, whatever it is you like to do as a normal playing session. Start doing that, refine it, and tune it. And then that's what you have. Now, when it comes to stretching and guitar strings staying in tune, D'Addario actually has some different brands of strings that you don't have to stretch as much. For instance, the XT and the XS strings, you can check those out. I was using the NYXLs. So look for those because you actually don't have to stretch the strings quite as much. So check that out. And a huge shout out to D'Addario for sponsoring this video and allowing me to teach you how I change strings on the guitar. If any of the D'Addario products, such as the string winding tool or that string winding kit, or any of the strings you're interested in, please be sure to check the link below, right down there. And thanks again for watching and supporting Marty Music. Hope to see you guys in another video real soon. Also let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this. Thanks again. We'll see you later.